Today we are going to talk a little bit about the benefits of social media,
Hmm.
just posting, being active, and then, of course, advertising.
Right.
So there are a lot of ways to get your message out and build your audience and build your brand. Social media is super cost effective.
Hmm.
So, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Um, so we're going to go over, I guess, 10 reasons why.
It's our top 10.
One, brand awareness. Obviously,
Yes.
being on the channels that are relevant to you and to your audience. Don't just get on every channel because that's what's trending.
Yeah.
Make sure that you can actually connect to your audience with that channel. So many times we're like, oh, I want Instagram, but does that really match your brand?
Hmm.
Do you have enough photos? Can you connect? That's really what you have to ask
Right.
yourself.
And I think it's also, while you're kind of taking stock and if you are trying to decide on your own if these channels are right for you, do a little research, dig in and maybe even create an account for yourself and see how each of these channels work and understand. Because like Whitney said, if you have a business or a brand that isn't necessarily photo friendly, Instagram is not going to be the spot for you.
Yeah, and you definitely want to learn how the channel works before you jump in.
Hmm.
Even if you have a social media agency or manager, you still want to know for yourself. Maybe you don't have a public profile or you're really active, but at least set up the channel and make sure that you can access it.
Hmm.
If you have turnover or you switch agencies,
Yeah.
you really want to make sure that you have access to all of your channels. If you work with somebody, make sure you're getting that username and password, and then put it somewhere where you can always access. Set your email addresses so that they are yours and not your providers or
Hmm.
an employee. That happens a lot when we
Right.
take over
Yeah.
accounts, or we start working with someone. They don't have access
Right.
because it went along with their past or previous person.
Yeah, someone created the account and then quit, and now we're trying to track them down and get a password, or in extreme cases, just kind of rebuilding and starting over from scratch.
Yeah, you never want two profiles on any channels out there. So just make sure that you own your channels. It's a good question to ask if you work with an agency.
Hmm.
Um, do you own your channels? Always ask that question, and they should provide you any passwords. Actually, you should be providing them access,
Yeah.
but just make sure that that email address and that security address backup always remains within your company so that you can access no matter what.
Yeah. Always a good idea.
But brand awareness, obviously, number one. It's
Yeah.
everybody's on social media for the most part, even if you're not really active. So be on those channels. It's a great way
Yeah.
to get in front of people all the time. People are always in their phone and on
Hmm.
social, especially right now
Right.
when that's how most people are getting their news.
Yeah.
Real or not, that's where they're coming from. So being in front of people, that's the easiest way to get in front of people is on their phone because it's right here
Yeah.
most of the time.
Exactly. And like Whitney said, it's free. Obviously, if you run ads or boost post or whatever the case may be, you're going to pay for that. But for the most part, by and large, it's free to create an account and then get that word out there. So.
I think the second one would be building inbound links, putting your information to where it's very easy for other people to find. Um, I a lot of times just read things from social media where I see the article. I'm not actually going to those sources,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to certain news sources and looking at them, but I am seeing it on social media. So being able to share outside of just your website, if you have a blog, especially. Um, Being able to share that somewhere other than just your website, not leaning on that traffic, is important.
Hmm.
Building those links, obviously great for SEO.
Yeah, and SEO, obviously search engine optimization, and really, when you even when you Google a lot of brands now, a lot of the first on page one, you're going to find their social media channels that are popping up as well as part of that search. So,
Improve SEO is number three.
right.
I just kind of
Oh, did I
led
jump
into
ahead?
that.
I'm sorry.
No, I
Oh, okay.
led into it
Oh, okay.
completely naturally. It was almost as if I knew what I was doing all the time.
Exactly.
So it's a very easy way to improve your website and your rankings, though social media doesn't impact your score directly. The things that happen because you're on social media do, those inbound links, people clicking to your website, being in front of people, all of those things do count for your rankings
Hmm.
and can get you closer to the first page. Again, don't ever believe anybody that says they'll get you number one or on the first page in Google, because that's a lie.
Hmm.
But the more places you can be, the higher you are going to rank, just because that all leads back into traffic, more traffic, higher rankings.
And I'm maybe stepping out of turn, but it's important, at least as a consumer's perspective, when I go and find a brand that is on social media and maybe they used to do Twitter, but their page is sitting there and they haven't tweeted. Like, I go through every once in a while and I will purge the people that I follow or the brands that I follow if they haven't tweeted. And, I usually give it a year window if they haven't done anything. So you want to, if you're not active in using these channels, I would say get rid of them or at least hide them and not be so obvious that you're not maybe following up or because it kind of leaves a bad message of, what's going on here. Are they going to meet my needs, or what's going to happen if I become a customer of this business?
You don't want to be left behind. So it is okay to break up with certain social channels. If the relationship doesn't work, cut it off.
I am never quitting TikTok. I'm putting that out
Well,
there.
you know how I feel. I'm not doing it, but I will rely on you to do it. I
Okay.
do like to watch them
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but I would scroll through and I would sit there for
Then it's the middle of
ridiculous
next
amounts of
week when
time.
you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I've got to stop. I had to break up with the channel because I was spending too much time there.
I hear you. I hear you.
I think conversion rates,
Hmm.
number four, conversion rates. You want people to spend more time on your page. You want them to click your ads. You want them to buy.
Hmm.
And all of those things are improved with social media. It's a social channel. So you're being relevant, you're being in front of them. Again, all of these kind of play on each other.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. And to have a full, well-rounded campaign and do well on social media, you kind of need to hit all of these areas. They are benefits, but they're also things that you, as you are developing your channels and developing your strategy, really need to look for and make sure, am I achieving this? Am I doing this correctly? Am I addressing it?
Hmm.
And being mindful, those are things that you really have to look for as we go through all of these, because they are benefits,
Yeah.
but to achieve the benefit, you have to work towards them.
And when you're doing that too, with your post, don't be in sell mode every single post that you make. Be a human, have some fun. We've talked before about the national days, the nothing days, and having a poll up, or doing a fun photo, or your team doing something with a video or a TikTok, for example. Don't just make it about the business and the brand, and give it a little bit of room to breathe, and show some personality from everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, you are your brand, your employees are your brand. So humanizing is really what social media does. It
Hmm.
humanizes and personifies your brand. And that's why people follow you and really choose to do business with you a lot of times in similar industries where you may sell the same product, but why are they going to come to you instead of your competitors? And that's you.
Hmm.
They come for you, whether it's your customer service or I know this person, I've known them all my life, I want to do business there. They give back to the community. They're very customer focused. They provide excellent customer service. All of those things you can show on social media and help humanize your brand, and people want to do business with people
Yeah.
and people that they like.
Right, exactly. And speaking of customer service and that customer satisfaction, when you do get a comment, respond to it. respond to it publicly, especially like it shows other people that you are listening and that you are engaged with your audience, and you're not just making a post asking for someone to buy your product or take part in your services, and then you walk away from it. And vary up the responses. Don't have a just a cut and paste kind of philosophy or attitude toward it. And just again making that person feel like they're being listened to. And especially if you I when I interact with a business or a brand, and they respond back to me, uh, it does because you feel valued, you feel appreciated, and then you know that they're actually listening to what you're saying, and they may retweet you, or repost. A lot of them do it now on Instagram too, where they'll put it into their
Right.
stories, and those kinds of things. I think it goes a long way because it makes the consumer feel validated as well.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the best benefits of social media, and we've really seen a lot of brands really get slapped in the face with that notion during COVID,
Hmm.
is that's the only way to communicate a lot
Hmm.
of times. So having that social media, being active on those social channels, but responding and actually communicating and having conversations with your followers, that's always important. Thank them when they share your page or get involved with your brand. That's they're doing more than just pushing buttons or
Hmm.
clicking.
Yeah.
They are engaging with your brand, and engagement leads to loyalty and sales.
Right.
So you always want to use auto messages to, like, if you may not check messages
Hmm.
super quick because
Yeah.
everybody wants now.
Yeah.
So you can set those and say, hey, we're busy helping customers, um, but we'll get back with you as soon as possible. Something along those
Yeah.
lines, because you do want to show that they are a priority and that you appreciate them reaching out to you. But set the expectation where it may take me, 5 hours because I'm driving all day
Yeah.
to get back to you. But if I see a auto response, then I know that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
don't lean on auto responses and auto messaging and robo text to communicate for you. That's the wrong way to do it. You
Yeah.
want to be a human. That's why the channel is there, to humanize your brand. So don't let your customer service look like a robot.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And if you have the auto message set, don't forget to then go back and follow up and
Right.
answer the question, or whatever the case may be. So,
And you can set reminders
hmm,
on most of the platforms so that you can follow up, and then it'll set a reminder. But it's also in an inbox that's uh, to follow up. But it's funny because people are so used to auto responses that there have been times where we will respond and they will think that we are not real because we're
right.
doing it so quickly.
Yeah.
Because you always want to make sure that whoever is on the other end of your brand is being responsive.
Hmm. Sure.
So with our accounts, we're very
Yeah.
responsive, and to the point where there was a
Yeah.
couple times where people think that we are fake, though we didn't sound like a robot. We were just being so quick
Right.
that they really thought that we were fake.
Even when responding to kind of some of the very specific things they were saying, like things that a robo response would not be able to do. It was quite comical because it was a Sunday, and I think all three of us were watching these responses and stuff and taking turns answering questions. So, no, it is it's so imperative to again keep that line of communication open, and even the negative stuff, and dealing with it appropriately. Most likely offline, so you don't get into a big argument or shouting contest on social media. But you take the good and the bad together, and some of them are just disgruntled people, customers, former employees, but some of them maybe have a valid point to what they're saying. So
Right.
take it all with value, and help them out, and that goes a long way too. I've had accounts before where an unsatisfied customer, and we dealt with it head on, and they appreciated and thanked us for that kind of response. So where they weren't happy with the initial service, the customer service follow up is where you can kind of win some points back.
Yeah, and then people become loyal.
Hmm.
So you're humanizing your brand, which is the next benefit is brand loyalty.
Hmm.
When you become human and people get to know you, then they develop a loyalty almost automatically. You know, millennials are the largest generation, and guess where they are on social
Social
media?
media.
So that brand loyalty, we follow brands, those, just like our friends and family, we want to follow where we put our money.
Hmm.
And so we want to know what brands are doing, what they're up to behind the scenes, so that we can continue to build that relationship. And then when you refer someone, you want to know that things are going to be right.
Sure.
But with that, when there are negative things that are said, a lot of times when you build a loyal following, those people will come in and to your defense
Hmm.
and they will do all the work for you. So you don't even have to work for it. As long
Yeah.
as you work hard to develop that loyalty, people will fight your battles for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, we see that often,
Yeah.
especially with celebrities. People will, it's their army. There's hashtags galore
Yeah.
for brand loyalty. So just keep that in mind that obviously the relationships that you build help you in all of these other areas.
Excuse me, I'm getting choked up on this.
Somebody call 911.
No.
I'm not doing it. I don't have my phone.
Yeah, but that also kind of leads into that authority of brands and making that statement. And you may not be the biggest company or the biggest brand out there, but if you are vocal and making that presence known, you can really, it's always fun, not funny, but like interesting to see kind of some of these brands that you think are these giant companies or whatever the case may be, but it's not the case. It's just that their presence is so big that
Right.
you really have a different perception of them, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it really helps kind of that social media posting and consistency helps build that authority as well.
And then, when you're contributing to improving your SEO and you're putting, you know, every different channel, when you've got search engines that are picking up your Twitter and your Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn is very powerful.
Yeah.
Then you are creating an authority, but more so, you are building a brand and narrating the story.
Hmm.
And social media is a great way to um, really do that. Is build your brand, build your authority, build your rankings, all of those uh,
And
things.
you said something very pertinent too about kind of building that narrative or telling that narrative, because we have had potential clients who have become clients in the past who kind of shied away from social media because they didn't want to have to deal with the negativity of it.
Right.
But really, people are going to be negative towards your business whether you're on social media or not. This way you're at least seeing what they're saying and you are able to control that narrative and really tell your story, and not let someone who maybe just like I said, a former disgruntled employee or an unsatisfied customer tell that story for you, so you're back in control and kind of dictating what that message is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you an opportunity to find out what people are saying about you. So the good, you can do more good, and the bad, you can address
Hmm.
and make corrections, so that you continue to grow and be successful. Um, as far as advertising goes, social media is really dirt cheap in
Hmm.
comparison for the amount of people that you can
Yeah.
reach.
And it's the other beauty part of social media ads, Facebook ads in particular, is you kind of set the budget.
Right.
TV, radio, newspaper, they all kind of have those set rates, and that's fine for what they're doing. But if you maybe don't have the budget that you would want to get onto a bigger platform, or necessarily a bigger platform, because really with social media too, you're targeting very specific people who you want to kind of bring into your fold and make aware of what you're doing. So, you can target it very, very, very specifically on a very, depending on your budget, you can do it on a very small budget too.
Absolutely. I mean, you are targeting people that are interested. They've searched, they like pages that are similar to yours, they follow other brands similar to yours, and have common interests. And that's really what you're targeting, those behaviors and interests and other follows. And if they engage with other ads that are similar to yours, um, you know, these social channels are very smart. Their algorithms are can pinpoint you. I'm sure that everybody has gotten ads. You're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of that. But really, you've searched for it.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll hear, I was just talking about that. And
Right.
then it popped up. Well, your behaviors have led to you talking about that.
Yeah.
And you've probably searched or followed other companies while you were talking about it. So it's not so advanced that we're listening in on conversations, but we are when you type it out and you put it out there or you start searching. So all of your behaviors kind of contribute to what ads you are going to be fed and then what you can feed to others. So it's very specific. You're not, when TV has its place,
Sure.
and it's very powerful. But when you have a very limited budget, you want to make sure that every dollar you spend is going towards something or somebody that is very well qualified or, in the active buying process.
Hmm.
And social media allows you to do that with digital.
I'm going to tell a quick story because it reminded me when Whitney said, they're listening or whatever. When I worked at the TV station, on our website, they had the ads. So the ads that popped up were based on what you had searched or what you had been, interested in. And I got a phone call one morning. I answered the phone and they said, the ads on your website are inappropriate. They're not for children, yada, yada, yada. And it was a woman. And I explained to her, what how our ads work, because I was looking at the website too, and there were things on there that I had, searched for as well. So I think she probably had a conversation with her husband later that day. But yeah, so it's not, the ads that are a lot of times that you're seeing aren't necessarily inappropriate. It's basically really based on what you have looked at or have shown an interest in the past. So
Yeah, your ad delivery is very personalized. So you are getting ads, hopefully, that are tailored directly towards you and your behaviors and interests. And then as an advertiser, you're only feeding ads to people that will be interested. Please don't just boost to a radius. That's
hmm
you can cover that other ways. You want to always do target and behavioral targeting. You always want to do that,
yeah.
use that. I think really marketing and market research and insights. Again, we kind of talked about how you can find out what the complaints are before they really get too big to
hmm
control, or that you have to do major damage control. But find out what you're doing well and what your weaknesses are, but then also what your competitors are doing. Pop-up competitors, where they're putting their ad dollars, how strong their brand authority and their engagement is. We can see all of that.
hmm
It does take software to see a majority of that, but I mean, just sitting at home, you can look up your competitors and
hmm
see how much engagement they have, how many followers, which is not the greatest
right.
comparison, but it does give you kind of an idea. They
Yeah.
had to build those followers. Hopefully, they didn't buy them,
Yeah.
but you would be able to tell by the number of engagements. So those are. It's a great way to find out um, what the market is doing without paying for a in-depth research analysis.
Yeah.
Like you can find most of those things. We do
Right.
anyway. So.
Yeah. And again, it's taking that information then and using it to your benefit and really understanding. And some of it is confusing, and that's where we kind of step in with a strategy and a plan, and can help steer you and your brand in the right direction.
Yes, let us stalk your competitors. We love to do it. I think blogs and social media posts, we do them for a reason, or you should be doing them for a reason. I've said that enough times
Yeah.
that everybody should just have that on repeat, a little loop. But building that kind of thought leadership and making yourself, building your credibility, making yourself the thought leader or the expert on the subject matter. So and that does take you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, but it also makes you more relatable. So,
Hmm.
if like us, we obviously want to market for your business, that's our business. But we also want to give you tips to help you market better and to help you mold your strategies, because that, when we give you things for free, makes us the experts. We learn from that, we get feedback. Um, but then if we give you a tip and then you have questions, hopefully you're coming back to us
Hmm.
for advice or guidance, and then we earn your business.
Yeah. Or evaluating and understanding, better understanding what you may be paying for or not paying for in terms of, uh, your plan or your strategy. So it's just really, kind of using that voice and helping others make the right decisions that, and again, I say right decision, but you have, what we tell this business, we would probably tell a different strategy or different plan to another business, or social media channels to use, or kind of, again, deciding what is right for you and your business.
Right. I mean, all of these kind of things, if you're seeing this video, you're obviously on social media at some capacity. But is your brand is your brand there, but are you putting your best foot forward? Are you being helpful? Are you providing information? And are you taking care of your following, not
Hmm.
just your customers, but anybody that follows you? Are you building brand awareness, nurturing those people that you bring in on social channels, and then creating loyalty and
Yeah.
building your brand authority? All of those things, very easy to do. I don't want to say easy, but there are benefits of social media. Um, so use it to your advantage. But look at all of your channels. Make sure that you have a set strategy for every channel that you're on. Ask yourself, why am I on this channel? What benefit am I getting? But then what benefit am I providing to others?
Hmm.
Um, Social media. What benefit do you provide to other people? Always be able to answer that.
Some good advice. And again, if you feel like you're oversaturated with what you're doing on social media and you're not able to meet the demands and the needs of all of those channels, consider paring some of them down, getting rid of them, breaking up with them, as Whitney says, or employ the help of an agency like Idea Creative Marketing. And we are always glad to talk and kind of go over some things with you as well.
Absolutely. That's all I've got.
All righty. That's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
Bye, guys.